The moment you enter a situation, don't ask yourself what is happening. Ask yourself what everyone else thinks is happening. Most people are trapped inside their own assumptions, convinced that the world they see is the world that exists. Kaito Kid understands something far more dangerous. Reality is not controlled by facts, but by perception. While others are busy reacting to what they believe is real, he is quietly redesigning the structure of the game from a place they cannot see. If you want to think like him, you must first abandon the habit of moving forward blindly. Ordinary people act first and think later. Kaito Kid thinks until action becomes inevitable. Before he takes a single step, he already sees the final moment in his mind, the silence after chaos, the confusion after certainty, the empty space where he once stood. He doesn't hope for victory, he engineers it. And if you learn to see the ending before the beginning, you will realize that most obstacles are not walls, but illusions created by limited perspective. Look closely at how people behave when they feel secure. They become careless. When they feel threatened, they become predictable. Kaito Kid never attacks strength directly because strength is alert. Instead, he attacks confidence. He allows his opponents to feel smart, prepared, superior. He feeds them information that feels logical, patterns that feel familiar, clues that feel solvable. And while they are busy solving the puzzle he gave them, they fail to notice the puzzle they were never meant to see. If you want to think like him, you must learn to design traps, not for bodies, but for minds. A single plan is not a strategy. It is a gamble. Kaito Kid never gambles. Every action he takes is supported by unseen alternatives. If one path collapses, another one is already open. If that path is blocked, a third path appears where no one thought to look. This is why he never looks nervous. Fear comes from dependence on a single outcome. Freedom comes from multiplicity. If you want his mindset, you must train yourself to always ask, what happens if this fails? And then build an answer before failure even exists. But the true essence of Kaito Kid's thinking is not intelligence, it is understanding humans. Systems are predictable because they follow rules. Humans are predictable because they break them. They are driven by ego, fear, habit, and desire to be recognized. Kaito Kid studies these invisible forces with surgical precision. He knows that a proud detective will chase the most dramatic clue, that a frightened crowd will follow the loudest voice, that an overconfident enemy will ignore subtle anomalies. He does not defeat people by overpowering them. He defeats them by letting them defeat themselves. And yet, he never hides completely. Instead of disappearing into darkness, he steps into the spotlight and turns danger into theater. He announces his presence not to boast, but to control the emotional atmosphere of the battlefield. When people feel excitement, fear, or awe, their logic weakens, their attention narrows, their perception becomes shallow. Kaito Kid transforms his actions into legends because legends are easier to manipulate than facts. If you want to think like him, you must understand that the most effective strategy is not invisibility, but controlled visibility. Now imagine what would happen if you applied this way of thinking to your own life. What if you stopped revealing your true intentions? What if you stopped reacting impulsively and started designing outcomes? What if the people around you were not responding to your real thoughts, but to the image you carefully constructed? Slowly, almost imperceptibly, you would begin to move differently. You would speak less, observe more, reveal little, and calculate quietly. You would no longer chase opportunities directly. Instead, you would shape environments where opportunities are forced to come to you. At some point, you would notice something unsettling. The world would start to feel slower. Conversations would become transparent. Conflicts would become predictable. While others struggle to understand what is happening, you would already be standing several steps ahead, watching events unfold exactly as you anticipated. And in that moment, you would understand the final lesson of Kaito Kid's mindset. True power is not domination, but invisibility of intention. Because the most dangerous person in any room is not the one who speaks the loudest, moves the fastest, or shows the most confidence. It is the one whose true strategy remains invisible until the game is already over. And when everyone finally realizes what really happened, when they look back and try to identify the moment everything changed, they will find nothing obvious, nothing dramatic, nothing clear, only a quiet realization that while they were busy reacting to the surface of reality, someone else was quietly rewriting it from underneath. That is how Kaito Kid thinks. And once you truly understand this mindset, you will never look at strategy, people, or reality the same way again.